Jump scares. If you've played, watched, or even heard of Five Nights at Freddy's before, chances are you've seen some form of jump scare in them. And in those FNaF games, you'd usually get jump scared if you mess up. But what would happen if you purposefully got jump scared in these games? So I took it upon myself to find out just how fast you could get jump scared in all of the 16 existing FNaF games. And I will achieve that by whatever means necessary. But there are still some rules I'd like to set for this challenge. First, we have to start every game on a completely new save file. I'm also not allowed to skip any nights. And finally, we are not allowed to use any glitches. Also, I'd like to quickly mention that I now have a community Discord server, so if you'd like to chat with me and find out when new videos come out, feel free to join. With that out of the way, let's start with the FNaF game that takes the longest time. Being Five Nights at Freddy's Secret of the Mimic is the most recent FNaF game to come out, and it's the highest on the list. As the title suggests, and as most of you know by now, I'm going to take the fastest routes in order to get jump scared in any way I can. If you're not familiar with this or any of the upcoming games, I'll go through what we'll experience prior to getting a jump scare. Secret of the Mimic starts with a 2-minute long cutscene. Sadly, you cannot skip this cutscene on a new save file, which we are required to have. After this cutscene, we enter the costume manor at around 3 minutes and 15 seconds. Since the 2-minute intro sequence wasn't enough, we have to sit for another 2 minutes of an opening show. Currently, there's still no one in the building that can jump scares, so we still need to do multiple tasks before the Mimic, the main animatronic, can spawn. So we upgrade our permissions and turn on the power. Now, instead of waiting a good 30 seconds for the dispatch to give us access to the inventory, we reload the area by going back to the opening show and then grab the hand crank. Finally, if you open this gate fast enough and run into the elephant, you should get a jump scare in just sub 8 minutes. Since I did multiple runs on each game, I also found out that if you just stand close enough to this door, it won't close on you while you're getting the data diver upgrade. Along with goated movement and some nice RNG, the fastest time I got was 7 minutes and 54 seconds, which I am quite happy with. Now, let's move on to number 15. Sister Location. Okay, sorry for that one. Anyways, the reason why Sister Location is the second highest on the list is because it's one of the most dialogue focused games in the entire series. And the first possible section where you can actually get jump scared is all the way at the midpoint of night 2. To get there though, whether I like it or not, I have to go through minutes of dialogue, which isn't ideal for a speedrun. Now, once we press new game, we are forced to sit through 1 minute and 15 seconds of dialogue inside the starting elevator. Then, for night 1, we'll need to go inside the primary control module, as well as the circus control room. Inside both of those, we are tasked with checking and shocking the animatronics, ending up with 1 minute and 42 seconds spent in the primary control module, and another 50 seconds in the circus control room. And that's night 1 done. Literally nothing. In a normal run, you are now forced to watch an episode of this TV show, which lasts around a minute, but I actually have a little skip for this, that is using the F2 shortcut in the game. If you've watched my previous videos, you may already know what this does, but essentially, F2 is a shortcut slash hotkey present in all clicking games, which, when pressed, reloads the entire game, therefore bringing us back to the starting screen of the said game, which is a huge time save. Now just click on night 2 and we are yet again inside the starting elevator for another 1 minute and 10 seconds. For night 2, we are again tasked to check out the animatronics. This time though, 2 minutes into the night, the power completely shuts off. This triggers Circus Baby's dialogue, which lasts around 1 minute and 15 seconds. Once this dialogue concludes, we enter a crawl space, and if we fail to hold this closing door shut, we get jump scared, ending the run with a final time of 10 minutes and 56 seconds. It's what I would have said if there wasn't a way to skip like half the game. No, I'm not talking about actually skipping the night, but instead talking about another cool click team shortcut. You see, if you press Ctrl and S, the game mutes and then skips the upcoming dialogue. Now if you press Ctrl and S again, the game continues playing like normal. So if you basically just spam the Ctrl and S shortcut throughout the entire game, we'll end up with a final time of 6 minutes and 34 seconds. At least that was the fastest time I got. There's also a good time to mention that in the description is a big supercuts proof video for the game's fastest jump scares filled with a bit of my yapping, so you could check that out if you're interested. For now though, I want to tell Five Nights at Freddy's 3 is pretty similar to Sister Location because you yet again have to wait a whole night for things to actually happen. Usually one night in FNaF 3 is 6 minutes or apparently 5 minutes 48, but since not one thing is active in the first night, neither the Phantoms or Springtrap, Scott made it so that the first night only takes 4 minutes flat. So there go 4 minutes of me doing absolutely nothing. Either way, once the night concludes, a cool little minigame starts playing, but you know me, I don't give a shit. So I'll just reload the game and start the second night. Now at roughly 4 minutes and 30 seconds, we are completely in the hands of RNG. We can either hope that Springtrap instantly enters a vent and goes towards our office, or we get jumpscared by Phantom BB, who can appear on any camera. After giving both strats a fair few attempts, I came to the conclusion that opening the cabs and hoping to see Phantom BB is way faster than waiting for Springtrap, since that guy takes ages to make his way towards your office. Even if you were to guide him with audio lures, it takes way too long. If you're curious, all my Springtrap deaths were around the 7-minute mark, with the fastest one being 6 minutes and 17 seconds. Now when it comes to Phantom BB though, God knows the spawn rates, because it seems no one other than me actually cares. The best time I got with him was 5 minutes and 50 seconds, which therefore is the fastest way to get jumpscared in FNaF 3. This is what I would have said if I wouldn't have added a section to every game I call the perfect/worst RNG run, or maybe worst luck or best luck, whatever, I don't have a concrete name for it. The government sanctions worst RNG run. It's essentially what, in theory, could be the fastest way to get jump scares. Or to put it in Chicken Ninja 42/The Bones 5 words, what would happen if the animatronic would succeed in his movement opportunity every time, no matter how low their AI is. If you want to know what AI and movement opportunity systems are, check out this video. Now, back to the run. For FNaF 3, the theoretical fastest run is about 4 minutes and 30 seconds-ish, beginning when you open the cams on night 2 and instantly getting a Phantom BB jump scare. Don't ask me how low that chance is, I wouldn't know. Aside from that, I obviously won't count the perfect RNG run for obvious reasons, but I thought it'd be kind of interesting to add. Now on to Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach is the second 3D game on the list, and the first game where the timer starting on New Game might affect us. We can skip the cutscene this time, but we still have to endure 20 to 30 seconds of the game booting up. Now, usually we'd have to sit through almost 1 minute of user's dialogue, but if you were to put the master volume to 4%, it automatically skips all the dialogue, similar to the Ctrl S hotkey from previous runs. With this exploit, we can instantly look out the window, which triggers a shit ton of dialogue, as you can see from the subtitles. Now we grab the fast watch, quickly check it out, and then finally get to leave Freddy's room. Inside this van, we always need to hold down sprint until we can barely see the bar anymore. Then stop, and repeat that a couple of times. Once you're out of the vent, you can either just run to the gift box with the same stamina strat as before, or use the much more efficient bunny hop strat. Essentially, all you do is sprint when you're on the ground, jump and let go of sprint while in the air, sprint and instantly jump, and repeat. If you repeat this till you're at the gift box, you saved like 3 seconds. Grab the ticket and enter Freddy, and now you can make your way to the first aid station down in the tunnels. While the 4% of master volume exploit helps us a lot, it does not skip the conversation between Freddy and Vanessa. So I guess we're a creep now? 40 seconds later, we exit the first station, enter Freddy, and get instantly thrown out of him. Finally, we can run inside this bathroom and say hello to Glamrock Chica, ending the run at just above 5 minutes. With the help of perfect movement and no misclicks, the fastest I've ever gotten was 4 minutes and 54 seconds, which is definitely better than the 7 minutes and 13 seconds it would take without the 4% volume exploit. So I'd call this a dub. Now let's hope I won't get cut off. Five Nights at Freddy's 1. This is a bit of a weird one. You see, on night 1 the animatronics will only start activating at around 2 AM, but will only barely move because of their low AI. So for this one we'll be sticking to draining the power as fast as possible. We do this by instantly closing the left door, activating the left door light, and then finally closing the right door. This is, as far as I know, the fastest way to drain the power. With the 12 seconds spent loading into the game and the 4 minutes and 10 seconds it takes to drain the power, we should always run out of power at exactly 4 minutes and 22 seconds. Give or take. Then, similar to FNaF 3, we're again in the hands of RNG. Essentially, every 5 seconds once the power goes down, Freddy has a 20% chance to start his little jingle, up to a maximum of 20 seconds. This jingle Freddy plays has the exact same chance, so like I said, it has a 20% chance of stopping every 5 seconds, up to 20 seconds. Now once the lights go off, Freddy has a 20% chance of jumpscaring you every 2 seconds, which is pretty detailed. But I didn't explain all this for nothing, because I actually managed to get a perfect Freddy power outage run. As you see in the video, the power runs out, 5 seconds later the jingle starts, another 5 seconds later Freddy stops, and finally 2 seconds later he jump scares me. So without perfect RNG, the best time you can get is 4 minutes and 35 seconds. But while I'm not counting it, the government sanctioned worst RNG run is pretty funny. Okay, so like I mentioned before, Bonnie's AI will be set to 1 at 2 AM. To get to the office he needs to move at least 4 times, if this map is to be trusted. That's a 5% chance 4 times in a row, or 1 in 160,000, or 0.000625%. So pretty low if you ask me. Editing IceeG here. If each of Bonnie's paths is also a 50% chance, then the equation will be changed up by quite a bit, with the chance being a 1 in 2.56 million instead of the previous one, which may be wrong, but I'm not sure. I just added this in case somebody wants to correct me. Anyway, enjoy the rest of the video. If you're curious, that would end up being a final time of 3 minutes and 30 seconds, if my math is correct. Damn, I'm really doing math for these videos now, huh? But all that math gets thrown out of the window if you just open up the cams and get a 1 in 100,000 chance of Golden Freddy spawning and instantly killing you. This would be at around 14 seconds in. That's fun. Sure, hope I won't need to do any more math. Five Nights at Freddy's Into the Pit is a bit of a weird one. It's similar in dialogue to Sister Location, if not even more, but this time we'll need to just spam through it. And we'll also be able to skip the cutscenes. As a quick heads up, it doesn't matter which difficulty we select when entering the game. The length to get jump scared stays the same. Now when it comes to spamming the dialogue, you have 2 options. Either you could just spam E as fast as you can, or do something that is much faster. That is grabbing a spare controller and spam both E and A. Once the little minigame starts, just spam your spacebar, cause quite frankly I couldn't care less what score I got. Then the rest of this is pretty non-changeable, as it just has set dialogue and cutscenes. Finally, if you fail this quick time event, we get our beloved jump scare. Without the spamming method, I got 4 minutes and 37 seconds, and with it, I ended up with a final time of 4 minutes and 24 seconds, which I'm pretty happy with, ignoring the shit movement I had. And there's no perfect RNG run for this, so we can just change it to FNaF 2, functions pretty similar to its predecessor. While we won't activate all the lights to drain the power, we still have to wait for the only animatronic that can actually kill us, being the puppet. This is again because pretty much no animatronic is active throughout the early parts of the night. Even when they are active, their AI is way too low. So what do? Like I mentioned before, we have to wait till the puppet's music box runs out. Problem is, the puppet's music box only starts winding down at exactly 2 AM on night 1. Or around 2 minutes and 30 seconds into the night, if you include the loading time it takes to start the night. The music box also takes around 50 seconds to fully wind down. Then, wouldn't you know it, what else but RNG will determine how fast we'll die. Essentially, now the puppet needs to get a successful movement opportunity to advance, with the AI level being at 1. This can take a bit. Once she is out though, you'll hear her jingle playing. If that happens, the puppet now has a 1 in 10 chance to kill you every second if you're in the office. Also, I would not recommend flashing the light on the puppet, because that will stall her completely. The fastest I've ever gotten her to come towards my office were 53 seconds, ending the run with a final time of 4 minutes and 9 seconds. But if we were to bring up the government sanctioned worst RNG run, things look a bit different. Getting the perfect RNG, aka the puppet always succeeding her movement opportunity, would give us a final time of 3 minutes and roughly 23 seconds. But she's not the only one who can kill us. Toy Chica and Toy Bonnie both activate with an AI level of 2 at 1 AM. Since they both need to move 5 times to get to you, they can kill you at the exact same time. That being 1 minute and 47 seconds. Give or take. That is a 1 in 100,000 chance, or 0.001% chance, since they need to get a successful movement opportunity, being a 10% chance, 5 times in a row. If my insane math doesn't get you to subscribe, then I don't know what will. Anyways, subscribe and we'll continue over to FNaF Security Breaches Goated DLC, Ruin. It's the first game where I should clarify the rules a bit more. You see, it really depends on what you count as a jump scare. Essentially, the jump scare we'll be getting does not have to kill us. And no, before you ask, none of these jump scares are counted. The jump scare will only count if it restricts us from moving, like this map bot jump scare for example. With that out of the way, let's start the Ruin run. We first have to start with a 30-second intro cutscene, along with another good look at the state of the Pizzaplex. After this, we are required to collect this flashlight, because for whatever reason we cannot enter the rest of the game without it. Also, you could try and use B-hops again, but I quite frankly frankly am either too shit at them or they aren't as good here as they are in Security Breach. Now we grab the Roxy Talkie, talk to Gregory, and unfortunately, unlike Security Breach, the 4% master volume trick does not work in Ruin. Finally, after climbing up this gigantic ladder and falling down this vent, we enter the kitchen area. PTSD aside, if you go towards this bird water droplet thing, whatever, we get jump scared by another bird. Or I think. While not killing us, this jump scare still ends our run at 3 minutes and 47 seconds. And if you're not happy with a non-death jump scare counting, a quote unquote true jump scare would take around 11 minutes and 3 seconds. Which, if you do the math, is quite a bit slower. Pizza Sims run starts a bit different to the previous titles. Instead of pressing new game and starting the run, I decided it's best to start the game at the very beginning, being in the little intro cutscene you'd get when starting the game for the first time. Don't ask me why I did this, it quite literally adds roughly 3 minutes to a final timer if done incorrectly. Yes, incorrectly, I get to it. Nevertheless, once we did both the pizza shooter and the Henry intro cutscene, we get thrown right into the Tycoon gameplay at around 3 minutes and 10 seconds in. This Tycoon section will be instantly skipped because there's no way to get jump scared in it. Well, unless you farm money, get to the third catalog, buy the lemon or fruit punch clone, and instantly press spacebar to jump scare the little kids. It takes way too long though. Anyways, once we enter the office section, we'll need to try and speedrun all the tasks. This usually takes up almost 2.5 minutes of our time. Finally, once this is done, inside the Savage section, we can get jump scared by Molten Freddy if we keep the checklist page up for long enough. If you do all this correctly, you should be getting a final time of around 7 minutes and 41 seconds. But since we hate final times past 7 minutes and 40 seconds, we need to be faster than that. So, similar to Sister Location, if you abuse the Control S hotkey, we can cut off almost 2 minutes purely of the long intro Savage cutscene. Now just do everything like normal and you should get a super nice time of 5 minutes and 18 seconds. But wait, aside from the government, there's still a way to cut this time down even further. So, in most cases, there won't be anyone inside the building on the first night. But there's a chance for an animatronic to actually appear inside your building. This chance is calculated with your risk. The chance of an animatronic entering is a X in 50 chance. So in our run, a 3 in 50 chance. Or 6%. With the help of this RNG, I accidentally had Scraptrap sneak into my building and he jump scared me on the first night at 3 minutes and 19 seconds. I have to inform you though, if you watch a proof video, I forgot to turn on the desktop audio in OBS, so apologies for that. Now onto the government. This one is pretty self-explanatory and not too rare this time. Essentially, the given character first needs to enter the building and then go through this movement. But each movement only has a 1 in 3 chance of happening. If you crunch the numbers, the fastest way for the animatronic to jump scare you is in 32 seconds. This equals to a chance of about 1 in 1151 or 0.0868%. With this taken into consideration, the fastest possible way to get jump scared in FNaF 6 is 2 minutes and 32 seconds. If this math doesn't impress my old math teachers who told me I was going to work at McDonald's for the rest of my life, then I don't know what will. You know what will impress them though? It's FNaF World. Oh, I love this game, but I will actually need to split it into 2 parts for reasons I'll explain later. So let's start with FNaF World Update 2. Once we start the game, we can instantly reload it with F2 and then get back into the game. This skips the Fredbear Yap session, saving us a ton of intro time. Now we enter the update 2 by walking through these trees, and once we're inside the update, we'll need to go through the only minigame that has a jump scare, being Foxy.exe. Now just walk through the second stage and you will soon enough get jumpscared by Withered Freddy if you walk into him. I've tried this multiple times and the best run I got was 1 minute and 51 seconds. Five Nights at Freddy's Help Wanted 2 is the first VR game on the list, and wouldn't you know it, it's quite low, despite being a VR game and awful to start the timer. That aside, once we press new game, we're thrown into an opening cutscene that is sadly not skippable. Luckily for us, it's only 50 seconds. Then 55 seconds in, we are able to access a bunch of minigames. After going through each of them, the staff-only cold storage minigame is the fastest. To get jumpscared in this, we'll need to overheat Freddy. So grab the heat gun and hold it onto Freddy's left arm. Freddy's heat detection only starts once his arm is open, so grab the circle stamp thing and open it up. After roughly 8 seconds, we end this run with a final time of 1 minute and 16 seconds. Quick side note before moving on, this along with the other VR games have quite shit mic audio, so you hear my talking cut off sometimes. FNaF World again? Just kidding, I've already told you that I split this game into 2 parts. But that's because there actually is a way to get jumpscared in the first update of the game. So first do the same strat you do in the 2.0 update, and then once you're in the overworld, make your way up to the auto chipper boss fight, and pray to not get an enemy encounter during it. Now just wait until the boss does this jump scare move, and that's time. I gave this an unnecessary amount of attempts, and the fastest I've ever got was 38 seconds and 48 milliseconds. Yeah, we're getting into the millisecond territory. Now if we put this run in the eyes of the fastest time we are able to enter a boss fight is around 24 seconds. Then every 4 seconds, the boss has the chance to either do a basic attack or the jump scare attack. I don't know what the percentages are for this, but just know the fastest possible time to get jump scared is 4 seconds. So add that up and we end up with a final time of roughly 28 seconds. Now, I should really stop. The DLC of Help Wanted 1 is probably one of the funniest runs out there. That aside, shout out to Steelbook for making the DLC accessible on the new game run. Speaking of, when you start a new game, you're sent to a cool roller coaster ride, which can be skipped if you press the menu button and select Quit to Title. Normally this brings you back to the game selection screen of the initial game, but if you hover your hand just on this cupcake button while it's still loading in, you can skip the mini game selection screen, essentially meaning you'll be ported to the DLC instantly, which saves us like 10 seconds of loading time. The VR games in general really work around knowing your surroundings and pressing the buttons without them even loading in. I think you can guess why I chose VR instead of flat mode. Now in the DLC, I again chose the fastest game to get jump scared in, that being Hallway. Now you just want to get lucky and have Bonnie open the first left door for you. If that happens, you can end the timer on a solid 32 seconds and 54 milliseconds, which as far as I know is the fastest way you can get jump scared in the DLC. If you say I'm wrong, then go for. We finally enter the top 3 games, and the third place is Five Nights at Freddy's 4. For context, I will be counting the jump scares for both the main game and the Halloween edition as the same run, since they don't change in speed. For this game you already know the drill. We can yet again use the same skip we did for almost all the Click Team games. That is starting a new game and instantly pressing F2 once the cutscene starts to load in. Then pressing continue to start the night without the cutscene. Then instead of waiting for the perfect AI, which takes around 3 minutes and 9 seconds, we are going to use another exploit, being Foxy. You see, he isn't supposed to be active on night 1, but he always has a failsafe no matter which night you're on. This failsafe activates when you turn to the bed for a certain amount of time. If you do this for approximately 20 seconds, you'll be forced to turn around, which then triggers a Foxy jump scare, ending both FNaF 4 and its Halloween DLC in 31 seconds and 98 milliseconds. The silver trophy goes to FNaF Help Wanted 1's main game. And let's just get straight to it. The first 7 seconds of this game is the exact same strat we used for its DLC. Then instead of accessing the DLC, we'll be switching to the parts and service minigames, and starting the only one we can access. Bonnie. Now just rip out his right eye and you should get a final time of 16 seconds and 76 milliseconds. I actually messed up the minigame selection on my best run, so technically the fastest jumpscare could be sub 16 seconds. But trust me, it still is nowhere near to the fastest game being. Yeah, to no one's surprise, Ultimate Custom Night is obviously the fastest. While you could count the in-game timer as the final timer, switching up the rules this far into the run would be a bit stupid, not like it matters. Now what does UCN's run look like? Well, after going through many animatronics, the by far fastest one is Nightmare BB. He can jumpscare you in about 50 milliseconds. So I first tried to just put him at 20 and go, which got me a final time of 6 seconds and 48 milliseconds, but there's still a way to improve this. You see, if you just put all of them at 20 with this button, you can save about a second. Now inside the office, in the perfect run, you can die in 3 cam flips. That is flipping the cams up and down, hope that Nightmare BB is active and flip it back up. This strategy gives you the final fastest time to get jumpscared in all of Five Nights at Freddy's. 5 seconds and 44 milliseconds. Technically with the help of it can still be improved with getting a 50 millisecond BB along with a perfect timer split, but I still am pretty sure that it won't go below 5 seconds. So that's it. what is probably the most intricate way to look at FNAF's jump scares. I sure hope you enjoyed my yapping on the fun ways to get the fastest jump scares in all FNAF games. And if you did enjoy, then why not show me with a like and a comment. You can even subscribe to see more content, because I really put a lot of effort into these videos. I also have channel memberships now, so if you want, you can support me even further while also getting a few fun benefits. But don't be forced to do so. You could also join the community Discord like mentioned before. And finally, I really want to thank you specifically for sticking around to the end. And as always, this has been your host, IceeG, signing off.